Hey guys, good morning, Creator Mom. Happy Saturday. Whew, it's chilly. I just wanted to come on here and do a movie review. So I watched this movie called Woman of the Hour. It came out in 2023 actually, and very good movie. It's about a serial killer. So don't watch it if you don't watch movies of that genre. But it was crazy because a it was about this guy. Obviously, he would be very God, what do you call it? Like charming initially, of course, right? Because you have to draw in your bait some way. And it made me think, it just really made me think about how we have discernment, right? And there has to be a way to pick up on this type of person, because sure, everything in the outer world is going to look like normal. Like, oh wow, they're smiling, they're saying nice things, they seem so charming, they seem so nice. But there's got to be something on a deeper level that reveals a person's true intention, you know? Anyways, so yeah, he basically kills all these women. He draws them in by being charming to them, and then he tells them he wants to take, I think this is based off a true story. He tells them he wants to take their photo, and he brings them up to this desert and basically attacks them. I think initially that he doesn't want to kill them initially, but they get knocked out unconscious, but then maybe he kills them afterwards. I don't know. They didn't really show that. They probably don't have that much information to possibly show his process or what it was. But the buck stopped with this one girl, and actually towards the end of this movie, he's on this dating show, whatever, and he goes on a date with this girl, and she ends up getting away from him, thank God, because just by pure divine intervention, because they were in a parking lot and all of a sudden people were coming out of this building. So, it was like a close one. But she skipped town after that. It's like there was no point of going to the cops, right? Because he hadn't done anything yet, right? So, anyways, he picks up this young girl. She's homeless, I guess, but she's kind of like a runaway. She's, whatever. So she's the one who the buck stopped with, because what happened was, in the movie, they show he took her, out to the desert, to, whatever. And then I guess he tied her up and knocked her unconscious, probably raped her and stuff like that. And then she wakes up, out of this being knocked unconscious the next day. She realizes automatically her fawn survival skills kick on, and she realizes what type of situation she's in. And he's next to her and he's crying because, serial killers are weird. They have a weird, I think they do experience guilt and shame, but instead of that guilt and shame bringing them to change and freeing them, it almost further deepens their perverse behaviors. So I think they're riddled with shameful feelings and guilt. Some, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, he's next to her, he's crying or whatever. So she realizes, okay, I'm gonna act like everything is perfectly fine and like nothing is wrong. So she rolls over and she looks at him, she goes, "Are you okay?" Meanwhile, you could tell she's got cuts on her face, she was bleeding, she had blood, she's all tied up. But instead of screaming and acting like a victim and saying, "Oh my God, what the fuck did you do to me?" Because she realizes she's tied up here. She can't fight. There's got to be another way to go about this. So she says, "Are you okay?" She asks him if he's okay, right? Approaches him seeming lovingly, right? And then he goes, he's like, wow, he's kind of like shocked that this girl's talking to him this way, right? And then she goes, she's like, she's like, things seem like they got pretty rough last night. She's like, would you mind, could I ask you a favor? she's like, don't tell anybody about this because you know how judgmental people are, you know? So she just kind of acts like everything is normal. Like this is totally fine. Everything is cool. Which gets him calmed down. Like, which gets him feeling like, okay, like nothing's wrong here. Like everything's fine. Like this chick is cool. Like I don't have to kill her because she's not screaming and yelling at me about how dare I, right? So she goes, could you just help me get up? Because she's all tied up and everything. So he actually unties her and helps her get up. And they walk down the hill from this desert they were in back to the car. I think I saw a cat. Oh, yes. Cattail's coming. Hi, Cattail. We have a cat that comes. Hi, Cattail. Hi. You come visit us? Yes. Cattail, come visit. Hey, Cattail. So yeah, so then, so they get in the car and they take off, right? She's in the car, like, they come up to this 4-way stop sign, and this guy's in a pickup truck with his window open on the other side of the 4-way stop. And they're in the desert, you know? Like, there's not a lot of cars around and stuff. So he's looking at her, thinking, testing her, seeing, like, oh, is she gonna scream out the window, whatever? But she just keeps her cool, you know? So then they stop at a gas station, and he's like, oh, because she didn't react, and she almost reacted a bit lovingly, like everything was normal, he had a bit of an ounce of trust for her. So he goes, you want anything from the store? I'm going to go to the bathroom in the gas station real quick. So she's like, no thanks, you know. So he trusts her enough to leave her in the car. Well, she takes off, of course. The instant he gets into the bathroom, she runs. And I was like, oh my God. And then I guess there was like a diner or something nearby, thank God. Whatever. The point is she was able to call the cops and they arrested him. Cattail, are you trying to go inside her? Cattail's trying to look inside our window. She might be looking for Luke. Are you looking for Luke, you little cutie? So yeah, she gets away and she calls the cops and they come and arrest him. And then what happened though was before his trial, they let him out on bail apparently, and he killed like two more times. But eventually he died in prison. And that girl, she testified against him like 30 years later as well to keep him in prison. Yeah, said that they suspect that, I think he was only convicted for like 7 murders, but like they suspect that he probably committed like 130 or something like that. So it's crazy. It just makes you think. But that last scene like really was like, wow, she handled it like a boss, you know. She fawned like nobody ever fawned before. But yeah, I guess you just have to weigh it out, you know. With the one lady that almost got killed by him, but people came out into the parking lot. Yes, they were eating at a restaurant, but she started to pick up signs that something was wrong when they were at the restaurant, because the guy looked over to the waitress and said, can we get like 2 more drinks? And then when he was turned that way, she looked at the waitress and she went like this, like, no, you know, to signify like danger. And then she was like, okay, well, yeah, we're closing now. Like, you missed the last call. So, but I don't know. It's just like, I guess she didn't know how dangerous this guy was, you know, because she could have been like, nah, I'm just going to hang back here. And she could have stayed in the restaurant with the lady, just stayed in the restaurant. Like, nah, I'm going to stay here because I don't feel comfortable walking out there with you. But I guess sometimes we don't trust ourselves enough to say, well, maybe I'm just being dramatic. Like, maybe I'm just getting a bad vibe. It's just not working out. So she only really, really realized how dangerous he was once she got outside and started walking back to her car with him. So I don't know. I guess all of it goes to say we just have to really pay attention to our inner guidance, even even if we think, oh, we're just making a big deal about it, maybe it's not that bad, it doesn't matter. As they say, right, better safe than sorry. If your internal signal's going off, just think it's the worst and just get yourself out of the situation, or don't act like, just that lady got lucky. But don't be afraid to just seem dumb and be like, no, actually, I'm just going to stay here at the restaurant. I don't feel comfortable walking with you. Bye. And have somebody walk you out, or even call the cops. Shit. Or But anyways, yeah, what is it? That's all for today, guys.